5 habits of a champ. The habit of commitment, the habit of humility, the habit of accountability, the habit of motivation, and the habit of preparation. These are what separate you from the rest. It's how you show up every day. These are more than just habits, though. They become who you are. And when you instill these in who you are, you become a very attractive person, personally and professionally. It'll set you apart from your competition. A little story about somebody that I believe had the habits of a champ, who lived the habits of a champ. When I was starting my baseball career, I was an intern with a baseball team in Charlotte, North Carolina. And there were 3 interns. We lived and worked together doing the grunt work around the ballpark, doing cold call, sponsorship, and advertising sales to get our feet wet in the business. About 3 weeks into our internship in January, the general manager of the ball club got us together and said, "You guys are working for one job at the end of the season." It was like the original Apprentice without Donald Trump. So we worked together for 9 months, and one of us was going to get the job. I was committed to being that person, winning that role, until I got to know Andy Kaplan. Andy was my roommate, intern mate for the year, and we were a lot alike. Andy and I were both committed to a career in professional baseball, and we were both Mets fans. It was great. He was from Florida, I was from New Jersey. And we made a pact that summer. The pact was we were together one day going to run the New York Mets. That was our goal. We set this vision. Andy was so committed to it, in his spare time, he would sketch out uniforms for our team. And he would give them to me, and I'd say, "That looks good, why don't we fix this?" Because it was the 80s. Mets needed an upgrade in uniforms, or so we thought. At the end of the season, Andy was the chosen one. It was well-deserved. He was the best of the 3 of us because he had these habits. I was still developing these habits. He got the job. I moved on to another ball club in South Carolina. We kept in touch. We were just a couple of hours away. 3 years later, 1986, it was a banner year for our team, our second World Series championship, and our dream. At the end of the 86 World Series, after the Mets won, they started getting ready for the next season, and they hired Andy to be the general manager of their new spring training facility in Port St. Lucie, Florida, for 1987. We go to the baseball winter meetings, the annual convention where all the big trades are made. Everybody who's anybody goes to the baseball winter meetings. I went there every year for 20 years. We went to dinner. Andy was so excited about his new job, but he was more excited for us and for me. He says, "I'm in there. Our dream is starting to manifest. This is great." He says, "You'll be there soon." I said, "Okay." He gave me a gift that night. The gift was a memento of the World's Championship from 1986. It was a little keychain, a medallion. Had the Mets logo on one side, World Series trophy on the other. Doesn't sound like much, but it was a thing only employees of the Mets were given as a commemorative piece. And Andy made sure I got one. Well, Andy moves on, has a great year in St. Lucie. Spring of 1988, his second year there. I get a call in March of 1988 during spring training. He says, "Skip, I'm going to the show. They've called me to the big leagues. I'm going to be director of advertising, sponsorship, and promotions at Shea Stadium in New York. I'm going north with the team." Again, he was excited, but he was more excited for us. He said, "Get your resume in. You can take my job. I'll make sure you get it. I'll be in New York. You'll be in St. Lucie. We'll be both in the organization together. Our dream is starting to happen." I get my resume together. I send it up. Andy gets it. He starts championing it up the ladder. Spring training's over. He goes to New York. Season starts. 3 weeks into the season, I get a phone call. I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina, the general manager of the Greensboro Hornets. I run back to my desk, I take the call. "Skip, are you sitting down?" No, I just ran back. Sit down. Okay, I'm sitting down. The voice on the other end of the line was Bill Blackwell. Bill was the general manager of the Columbia Mets, an affiliate of the Mets in our league. He knew Andy and I were close. I said, Bill, I'm sitting down. He says, Andy Kaplan is dead. I didn't know what to think. 26-year-old kid from Florida goes to the big city, gets in the wrong place at the wrong time. What happened is Andy had a brain aneurysm. He died in his apartment, 26 years old, instantly. Didn't show up for work the next day. They sent somebody to his apartment, and they found him. So I remember pulling out the keychain from my pocket, looking at it, and began mourning the loss of my buddy. Life moves on. A few weeks later, about 6 weeks later, it's June sometime, I get a call from the assistant general manager of the New York Mets. Are you still interested in pursuing the job in St. Lucie? I said, certainly. They fly me to New York. I go through the interview process. They treat me like royalty. I get seats in the 5th row behind home plate. Never been that close before. Dinner at the Diamond Club. It's awesome. At the end of the interview, the assistant general manager of the New York Mets stands up, says, Skip, shakes my hand. Looks like everything's in order. Meet me in St. Lucie in 3 weeks. We'll finalize our decision then. I walked out of Shea Stadium. I don't even remember if the Mets won or lost that night. I was on cloud 9. Pulled out my keychain again. This is great. Andy's looking down. He's my guardian angel. Everything's going to work out. A week before, I was in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, following our team. We were playing in Myrtle Beach that week. And I get a call in my hotel room late that afternoon. I was scheduled to go to St. Lucie the next week. It's the assistant general manager of the Mets, the guy I'm going to meet next week. I figured he's calling to confirm our appointment. He was calling to cancel our appointment. They decided to hire Andy's assistant, a 22-year-old intern right out of college, 3 months of baseball experience. I was in baseball for 7 years. I was the executive of the year in Class A baseball the year before. And they chose someone else. Again, I had done all the right things. I was in the right place. It was so unfair. It should have been my job. Didn't work out. Life happens. Stuff happens. You move on, right? I just took it and moved on. I was doing what I loved. I was still working in baseball. I was still going to the ballpark every day. It was great. 1999, fast forward. I'm general manager of the Hudson Valley Renegades in Fishkill, New York. We win the New York Penn League Championship, my only championship in 20 years in baseball. I'm proud to have been a champion in baseball. This represents more than just one championship season. To me, it represents my entire 20-year career, my childhood dream being fulfilled. I'm even more proud, though. I lost that keychain along the way. So after I lost it, I went to a jeweler and got another keychain with Andy's initials, AK, on my keychain. I carry it with me every day because Andy had the heart of a champion, and I'm proud to still be able to honor his memory. Andy had the heart of a champ. He had those 5 habits. They've served me very well on my journey from starry-eyed little leaguer to disappointed 9th grade baseball player to fulfilling a childhood dream of going around a ballpark for 20 years to fulfilling a new dream of being a professional speaker, trainer, and coach. They've worked well for me. I promise you, if you take what you learned here today, you instill what Paul's telling you, what John's going to tell you, and instill these 5 habits, they will help you fulfill your next dream too. Thank you.